Welcome to CERT Rodeo in a Box, a training module, a series of tools to help you and your CERT team further your training. In disaster situations, your CERT team may be called upon to help in a search for a missing or lost person. It's important to know that these searches need to be highly organized and thoroughly executed. This course, excerpted from our own CERT Rodeo, walks you through the basics of grid searches, what to look for, how to look for it, and how to best find success. It will also provide the framework for your own discussions and dialogue to put what you've learned into practice.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Grid Searching for CERT personnel. My name is Pamela Carroll and I've been doing search and rescue for over 20 years. I'm a member of the Northland CERT here in Kansas City, Missouri area, and I'm also a member of the DMORT All Hazard team. What we want to teach you is you're called out as CERT. They're saying, hey, we need help. We've got this large area to cover. So we're going to go over what you might be doing out there. What is a grid search? Where do we do a grid search? What type of grid searches are there? How do we grid search? Everybody thinks a grid search is just, we're going to stand like shoulder to shoulder and walk down straight this way. There are different types. And each one of them is defined by the area, what you're looking for, and the size of it. We're going to be going and answering these questions today in this class so that we know, and when we get called by law enforcement, what to do when we get out there for a grid search. What are the phases of search? Well, there's a routine, there's a hasty, there's scenario-based, in which a routine search, it's early, it's concentrated, rescue and recovery. That's what most CERT people do and can think of when they're called out after a disaster. Although every attempt is made to be thorough, the need to achieve maximum coverage because of risk may well require recruiting others. And that's what we're going to discuss. At this early stage, it is usual to telephone relatives, places frequented by the missing person, to warn occupants. Ask them to make immediate searches. But the most important and is very essential, a record must be kept. It is essential that every place, every person you speak to, every place you search is recorded. This is the most important thing that you could possibly do. You have to write it down. You have to keep records. Frequently, missing persons, well or otherwise, it is still within the boundaries of their home or on routine. And we'll go through later on, where were they? How were they? Were they at the place last seen? Were they on the route to someplace else? There are three types of urban search regions. We've got our local searching, our regional searching, and our ribbon searching. These require at least 3 skills of search maps. Now with local searching, we're going to take in, it's going to be a distance based on statistics. Wandering behavior, how are they traveling? Usually on foot is what we use, but sometimes it could be a car. It could be, say, a kid on roller skates. It could be a kid on a bicycle. It could be an elderly person, it's in a wheelchair, or a disabled person in a wheelchair. And it's usually based on municipal street maps. Now we're going to expand this search out to a regional geographic area and possibly man-made. So what do we use? Do we define it by the town, by the district, or physical borders? Do we use a square block, or do we use the mountain range with the river? Do we use the freeways? Do we use the shorelines along the beach? If we're using ribbon searching, how far did they drive? Let's say Grandma got into a car. She's going home. She's not supposed to be driving, but she's got Junior's car keys. How are we going to find her? We're going to take and go down and drive the highways? Or are we going to try to get out there and find out where she was at? Maybe. All right, and then we're going to come to grid searches. This is where it takes manpower. You will be given a certain area that you need to cover in your search. We have a sweep shirt. This is normally employed after a disaster. Most CERT people know that right after a disaster, you systematically check from your house, the next house, and the surrounding houses, and going further out. Well, imagine that, and we're going to do a larger area. Only we're going to have a lot more people to help us instead of just one or two. You're going to be given compass bearings or specific guides used to control the area. Applied to a defined area, maybe fall into a clue. What are clues? And then there's the line search. How many of you have done line dancing? Y'all line up there and y'all take one step at a time. Well, that's kind of what a line search is. Only we have to determine how far apart do we need. Do we need to be 10 feet apart, or do we need to be as close as 2 feet apart? And then evidentiary. That's where we're going to search it in one direction, and then we're going to turn around, and we're going to come back on the second direction to cover it up. Because if you take and put on your hand or on a piece of paper, a dot, and put it up, how can you see what's on the other side? Can you? How far do you have to get to it? You can't even see it. But if you go up there and you turn it, now you can see that. Well, how do we do this? We do this with sign cutting, tracking, binary tactics. We're going to do a sweep. First, we have to find an area. We got this great, big, huge circle. Let's go around it. We know, definitely know, this person started at one area. So we're going to go together, and we're going to start looking for clues to this person. Why would we want to go in circles?
Find a direction of travel.
Okay. All right, in the direction of travel, let's say it's just that we just find a penny here and a pack of cigarettes there.
Line.
That's a line. And footsteps too, right? So I guess it's the direction of travel. So now we know where they're going. We also maybe have found clue. And we're going to start walking forward in a group. We may cut across it so that we know, okay, we found it here. Why would we go in a complete circle if we go all the way across and we don't find anything? It is the essentials that all sign cutters work in circles out beyond the area of heavy contamination. So why are we sign cutting? Imagine the effort to search a whole great big huge area. Which would you rate? Can you eat that whole pizza by yourself? Or do you just want one piece? A lot easier if it's just one piece and you can reduce it down. Where is that place last seen? Often abbreviated as PLS. That's the point where the subject actually was and seen. But be careful. Often someone will say, hey, I saw Susie at the park. Well, when did you see Susie at the park? Oh, last week. Is that relative to what you're looking for now? If she was only missing? Always find out when they saw the subject. It is very important. If they said they saw him at the restaurant, find out when they saw him at the restaurant. Oh, I saw him last week. Well, that's not good. But it's still, at least they said, I did see them. And they know what they look like. Well, what is a victim sign? We start with those. A sign can be anything. And what do we do when it's found and verified? Guess what we got? A last known point. We know definitely that that person was there at one time. Searching is traditionally performed from the PLS early in the search before contamination is significant. What is contamination? Let's say we get, oh, Joey's missing. The news picks it up, and the family saying, please, please, please find Joey. Everybody shows up to find Joey, and they're searching everywhere. Are they contaminating the field? Kind of like taking a bottle of baby powder and throwing it up in the air in an air room? Could be. So what are we looking for when we're looking for sign? We're looking mainly to find out what direction they have gone in. We need to concentrate in that area. And why? Well, let's say, how fast can a person walk? Let's just use 2 miles per hour. All right, within 5 hours, how far they've gone? That's 314 square miles. Can you imagine having to search that, how many people it take and how long it take to search it? Remember, each hour is 4 times the search area. So by the end of the day, in 24-hour period, how far can a person really go? Not only that, but time also puts it at a greater risk. Let's say they're a diabetic. They're getting closer to their insulin time. They miss it. Let's say that it's raining or snowing or ice. Let's say it's a heat and they don't have water. So every hour makes a difference. So where are we going to look for these people? If they can travel 2 miles an hour, that's a lot of ground to cover each hour you're going through. But how do we find out? We got to look for clues. We're going to look for sign. Wow. Theoretical search areas. Distance is speed times time. We know they go 2 hours, 2 miles an hour. That's 4 square miles. So if their travel time is 2 hours, that's an estimated position within 4 miles. That's 50 square miles when you're looking for searching. If they're gone 6 hours, they can travel 12 miles. That's 452 square miles that need to be searched. Calculation of the theoretical search area, TSA, is the same for whatever travel mode that the subject may be using. That means they can go a certain distance walking. An Alzheimer's victim that's shuffling, they may walk 12 miles, but would the 12 miles be curvy or straight? A lost child, 7 to 12 years old, are they running? Are they walking? Are they riding a bike, a skateboard? It's speed times time. How fast are they going? A 24-hour overdue hunter, did he drive out to the one spot, but because his buddies and stuff made fun of him, last year he didn't get the biggest deer, so this year he's going to go to his secret spot? Does anybody know where that is, how far away it is? Did he drive when he got there, and how far he'd go into the woods to get there? So the PLS or LKP may move during a search incident. Everybody says, well, he always hunts there. But because they got teased, he's gone someplace else. So it could move. There may be others. Let's say, well, mom's got the kids, and she dropped them off at school. Now mom decided, well, I've got a couple hours before my doctor's appointment, so I'm going to get my hair done. And then I'm going to go shopping and then get my hair done. Well, it's almost time now to pick the kids up, but I still got time to do a couple other errands. So do we have a lot of places we need to look and search? Yes. So why are we sign cutting again? We're trying to get it smaller. Remember that big pizza you got to eat? We just want one slice. Now, what do we do when we find it? We respond. If anything else when you're doing grid searching, you need to remember what respond is. The R is for respond. You're going to respond because you were called there. 2, you're going to evaluate. Is it important? Is this sign important, this clue? Maybe. Could it be a receipt? Could this just be laying on the ground? Could this be important? Let's say, Mom, she stopped and had lunch. A lot of people say her favorite place to eat is Subway. So you find a Subway receipt down on the ground. Is that important? Should it be checked? Could be. What do you do when you find it? Well, we're going to secure it. How do we secure it? Well, we stop the line, we look at it, we raise our hand, say, I have something that might be important. Then the one in charge, law enforcement usually, will come over and evaluate it again and help you to secure it. And you're going to protect it. How do you protect it? Do you protect it by reaching down and covering it or reaching down and moving it? No. You're going to post little flagging tape on it or let the law enforcement. And you're going to observe it. You do not leave that item until law enforcement tells you that you can do it. And you are also going to notify who needs to come in and check it. Then you're going to document it. You found it, and make sure that anybody else there witness it also document it. But the most important of all that, never touch, handle, disturb, or any sign. This is in the responsibility of law enforcement, not SAR unit members. So what is a sign? Anybody guess? Well, it's anything and everything that's left behind. It could be the tracks. It could be hair that's fallen off. It could be a piece of torn clothing. It could be their purse. What if they like to go to the casinos? Grandma's purse with her Kleenex. A hairbrush. The little girl's ponytail holder. Or a hunter. Well, it could be his hunting cap. He got too hot. It could be his reflective vest because he got too warm and thought he was scaring the deer away. It could be the shoe off a toddler. Well, they're great for taking their shoes off. So sign and tracking and in life in general affords clues to the desired information. The sign is meaningless to us and of no use as a clue if you have not been trained to observe beforehand. And since 10 to 1, we will miss at least half of it. In taking observations on this clue, look at it. Can you see it? Can you smell it? Can you taste it or touch? So, in this picture, do you see the clue? Is it there? Untrained eye might not. Could it be significant? Could be. Can you see the sign in this picture? Is it broken sticks? Is it an indentation in the mud? Is the moss off the rock? And did you know that there are at least 1,300 tracks for every kilometer walked? No matter what you do, where you're at, you will always have sign. And even this absence of sign is a clue. What does that mean? Does that mean they weren't there, maybe? So how do we expect these items to appear? Oh, you say, well, here's the purse. I say, well, she had a purse. Okay. And then what they're telling you is it's a purse that's kind of blue, dark blue, brown color with a buckle. Does that give you enough information? And you look at it, how might that purse look in the field? What if it's rained? What if it snowed? What if it's thrown in a ditch and the street was muddy on a dirt road? Car comes by and splashes mud and dirt and dust all over it. Could you still tell it was a purse? How big is it? How small is it? How far close do you have to be before you can see it? How difficult is it? These signs, these clues, are not just going to say, here I am, I'm waving a flag. You have to look for it. That's just an ordinary brush. Somebody says a brush. But you know, if you go to the store and look at the brush aisle, there's probably 50 different types of brushes. And always remember, perception is effortless, detection is effortful. So how do we do it? How do we tell? Well, you got to look at it. And more than, that's not going to work. When you come up to a thing, you're going to be asked to take a step forward, one step at a time. Remember how you cross the street? You look both directions. Only instead of looking this way up, you're going to put your head down. And you're going to look, and then back again. But remember the size of the object. If you're looking for a purse, you can turn your head further. If you're looking for a smaller object, you need to turn your head less because everybody would be together. The ultimate sign is the subject. But unfortunately, a lot of times, all we're going to find is other signs. But each time you find one of those signs, you're going to bring us closer to finding that subject. They all have equal weight, all signs. They can be positively identified and they can be evaluated. And what's most important is do not form opinions about the search and then look for signs to support your opinions. Just because you have a daughter who's 13 years old who likes to wear makeup, don't assume the other 13-year-old wears makeup. Don't assume the 15-year-old boy who's a hunter and a scout is the same type of kid who's 15 years old who lives in the streets of Chicago. So what are you looking for? Anything and everything? Or are you looking to find out where they were? The truth is that professional searchers are looking for more than signs than victims. And once signs are found, the size of the search area is significantly reduced. That's why we do grid searches. We're trying to get this down smaller. Searchers should search for signs and hope they trip over the victim in the process. So do you agree or disagree with this statement? If there's only one lost or missing person, but numerous signs, looking for the person gives us the only chance of success. Well, looking for signs can give us hundreds of chances.